Welcome to Finance, where your money becomes fun. I hold a master's degree in finance and did nothing with it professionally, but I used the concepts I learned to build wealth and economic freedom. I started this channel to help you do the same. Each video is a short explanation of a topic and how you can apply its concepts to your wallet, followed by a case study from my investing experience. I'm not selling you anything, but giving you knowledge. Welcome to Finance, where finance meets fun. We're going to talk about a topic that is not part of most finance schools' curriculum, and that's precious metals. I mean, I think in Baruch, we talked about it a little bit when the U.S. left the gold standard, which we'll talk about in a little bit. When economies are backed by gold. But this video is just to be an introduction to gold. I think it is a part of finance. Obviously, if something's going up or down and something that's valuable, something that people are always interested in. And for the longest time, let's just talk about gold. It's stayed within a channel and never really went anywhere for like 10 years. Now we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence where it's going higher. Part of the reason why this, precious metals are fun is you get to look at them, and this is what the attraction is with a lot of it, for jewelry and the like. Here's an ounce of gold. Here's the little sheath that came in, I cut it open. This is now gold is over $2,000. And here's I think $300 of 10 ounces of silver. So here's 10 ounces, here's 1 ounce. And if you watched a couple of the videos so far about, of course, the finance thesis of making this stuff fun, but also my personal standpoint is just to dabble in a little bit of everything, just to get a understanding, and I find it interesting. So for the longest time, I was not a gold person or a metal person at all. In fact, I had my uncle would give me silver coins, and for my wedding, I sold them on eBay just to raise money for the wedding. Wish I didn't do that, but oh well. I needed the money, and I was never a gold bug or a metal person, and you can attribute that to there's a stigma to it. Either you won't really find someone like me where kind of in the middle of the road, if you had to make an investment and you're really dependent on the returns, it's probably not the way to go. But the thesis, the philosophy behind an inflation hedge and everything like that, it is sound. But there was that stigma of being, if you're a gold person or a metal person, you're a little bit of kooky. You're on the Fox News commercials, you can't trust this currency, you can't trust any currency. And there's something to that, which I'll talk about, because I'm trying to make each one of these little lessons very unique. And I'll tell you a couple of stories, a couple of doozies that does make you think. We talk about the dollar and what it's backed up by, the courts, the military, our entire country. So the discussion of fiat money, is better because it can grow. That'll be a discussion we have later on. But is metal an investment? It should be part of this talk of finance? I think it should. So is it a hedge against inflation? You know what? If you look at the charts, and we'll look at them right now, gold and metals haven't really interacted accordingly to, let's say, the money printing that is happening at the Fed. Now it's seen, like I said, a little bit of resurgence, and it's going higher. So it can be an investment. The problem with gold or metals is that you have your what they call the spot price. That's the price of what it's worth. But if you want, let's say the price of an ounce of gold is $2,000, it's the spot. It's a weird way it's a tough way of articulating what spot means. But you hear that now with Bitcoin. Oh, there's a spot ETF. It means that's the price of it. But there's a whole industry that revolves around selling metals. There's big companies that are based on it, and so they always charge a premium. And the same thing on the other side of the coin. When you're selling it too, you can't get that price. It's got to be a little bit less. It's like a car dealership, like you go in and they're going to sell your car for 50,000 that you're selling them, but they're going to buy it for 45,000 because they need that room to make some money, because why would they even be there? So that's the thing with metals, is that you're already at a little bit of a disadvantage. But if you believe in, hey, again, I think it's going to go up. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't offer dividends or anything of the like. But you can hold it, and I know that there's a whole bunch of smooth brain people who just want to invest in things that they can hold, which is obviously not advisable. But we'll the thing with gold also, though, that in metals, is that it is a commodity. Like, can be used for a lot of different uses. It's traded on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I believe, where other commodities like oil and corn and pig bellies and the like are traded. But the big thing that what gold is it's jewelry. It's that thing that looks good and shiny, and is historically something that's has been through generations, through time, and through cultures, something that's prized. The Indians have so many holidays that they buy gold in. The Chinese were just in the news recently with all the gold that they're buying. And then you always will hear reports. Mark Zuckerberg just bought a bunch of gold. There's the feeling that it's a hedge. So we'll talk. I'll talk about a couple stories in a little bit of my personal reaction, relationship with these things. But I wanted this to be one of the beginning videos, because I do think it is, even if you don't buy physical gold, you can buy ETFs, you can buy funds, or that are involved with metal, and you can't deny the fact. We'll do a whole episode of the history of the dollar and the history of money. Like I said, I find that very fascinating, and we'll talk about it. And when the dollar left the gold standard, what that meant. But metals are a part of finance. Like I said before, you're probably going to find two ends of the spectrum on whatever article or video you watch, on someone that people love the metals they believe in, and other people think it's silly and it's just this shiny thing and has no utility. But no, it's a part. And the thesis of this show is making it fun. So I wanted to talk about it. It is one of those things where, like I said, it's good to look at. It's good to hold in your hand, and it is something that you'll pass on to your family when you croak, and we all croak. So and we'll talk about that in a second. But that's why I think it should be part of finance. Let's just get a few things out of the way. One, why is it valuable? Well, there's the scarcity of it. It's limited. To start, I mean, I remember hearing a story of starting a gold mine. It took like 10 years from buying the land, finding the gold, buying the land, finding the equipment, the whole thing. It's a long, drawn out, protracted process of being in the gold mining business. But why do they do that? Why do these companies actually, Barrick and the like? Well, they do it because everyone wants it. It's one of those things that just will always have a demand. There's always been a demand throughout time. So that's why it's part of finance, and we can talk about economics later. but it's one of those things that crosses generations, crosses cultures, and I'll talk a few stories, but one was really like a rumor so much where I couldn't even find things online. But a lot of New Yorkers will say, "Oh yeah, definitely." I won't say what ethnicities, but there's more than one in New York who have been persecuted, have done things outside of, let's just say, the banking system, have had things confiscated. I'm Italian. The one of them is the Italian side of you can say it's Goodfellas or whatever of being assets seized. But the stories that I've heard from friends and family, and is that during family dinners, Sunday dinners, you take out your golds, you take out your bars of precious metal, and it's a way of feeling secure. It's a way of showing that no matter what, we have this and we'll be okay. I know this is going to sound very strange to a lot of people, but it's one thing that I've actually started doing with my family in the Italian dinners. You take out my little gold bar. What the hell is it? And you think, hey, I'm gonna pass this down, and this is something that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years before was valuable, and it probably will be. And 3,000 years from now, a thing that's part of the kooky reputation that metal guys and gold bugs and metal people get is that they're anti-government or not anti, but they don't trust the currency, they don't trust things like that. And probably the main reason is history and tradition of things getting confiscated. I mean, it's the whole thing with the Bob Menendez thing, where you're saying, "Hey, listen, I had gold because I've come from Cuba, and people confiscate stuff." This is an element, and I hope I'm not coming across as a little fringy, but I talk from experience where my father owed the IRS a lot of money, and my mom called me up one day. This is about a decade ago, over a decade ago, 15 years. And she was crying, and she said, all of my money is gone. She didn't have what I'm trying to help you do here and build an estate and have different accounts where it's spread out. She had all her money in the bank, and the IRS came in and took the money. I think it was like 30,000, but it was everything. And she was retired. She wasn't working. It was devastating, as you can imagine. The story had a good ending where she claimed innocent spouse and was able to get that money back, saying, "Hey, I had no idea what my husband was doing with whatever he was doing. That they confiscated that money, but they short of a police officer, FBI coming in and like Bob Menendez and taking it. This is here. This is mine." So it comes back to that family dinner of feeling secure because you have this metal. I know this is maybe where I'm going to lose a few people, but it's true. The thing is that with this stuff, though, is that there's always someone who wants it, and that's a integral part, a very core component of finance. And then the other story is this is my great grandfather's, on the Irish side, gold ring, and we're going back a ways, but he would have binges, and he would disappear for a weekend, maybe a little bit longer. I think the most was like a week or whatever. And he would always wear this ring, and then when he needed money, for his binge, this is alcohol. I mean, who knows what else, but he would go to this one pawn store. This is in Queens, and pawn the ring, get some money, go on his binge, and then he would go back to work. He would make some money, and then go back to the pawn store and buy it back. And luckily, it's come this way, but I now have it, that it wasn't lost forever. But this was a form of currency. This was a form of I talk about always having that emergency savings account, savings. This is probably the worst example of it, but he went, all right, if I got nothing, I at least have this, and that's what he would use, and it's passed down the generations. So I'll just end with that sentiment, with why I think it's an important part of finance and what we're trying to do here. Again, this isn't a course on the ins and outs of corporate finance or whatever. This is how do you use finance in your everyday? How do you make it fun, and how do you make it interesting? And this is stuff that I hope to pass down to my kids, and further on and further on, and it stays in the family, just as that little backup. Going back to that confiscation thing. That's the world we have to live in. We have to understand that. Like I said, I'm a direct, not a direct victim, one layer of that, of the government coming in and taking your money. I think about Mr. T. I mean, Mr. T, I believe he was always wearing all those gold chains because that was his estate, that was his bank. He didn't want to keep it in somewhere because he thought someone would just steal it, so he kept it on his body. That's the power of gold and metals. A lot of people love silver more than gold. I keep on referring to gold because I think at the end of the day, just my 2 cents. If I had to put money somewhere, it would be gold and not the other metals. So let's get to our case study of You Did What? Okay, so this You Did What takes back to August 2019. Now, obviously, we go back, and it was the Trump presidency, and let me just say that if you don't remember, there was such resiliency, or they like to say animal spirits, with his presidency, where if things were dipping by lunch 1-2%, by the close it was up 1%, because people just were buying dips like crazy, and there was a good feeling. Not getting political at all or anything like that. I think also I read a economist article that Democrats actually do better with the stock market than Republicans, which is a little counterintuitive, because you think of Republicans as pro-business and low regulations, low taxes. But anyway, I want this to be a lesson that you can take with you and apply it for other instances like this. I mean, it's not going to be, well, maybe if Trump becomes president, but just to get the idea of it. So let me back up. Let me set up the table. My wife and I were in Frankfurt. We were in Germany again, 2019, and we were connecting flights and drinking some beer and bratwurst. And I looked at my phone and I see the market is down like crazy, 2-3%. And I go, what the hell is this? And I started looking, and Trump did a tweet. I'll see if I can find it on the computer. It was about tariffs. China and Trump were going back and forth, and literally all it was Trump with a single or 2-line tweet about, hey, I'm going to do tariffs. So the market was freaking out, and the ones that were really tanking were the ones that had exposure to China. So I saw Dow Chemical, 3M, Caterpillar, components of the Dow were tanking. I think it was 3, 4, 5%. And I bought some. I ended up making a good amount of money. I think it was like 10 grand or so just in capital gains on those trades. I still have Dow right now. But the lesson is, one, of course, the market is, we always talk about this, fickle and everything like that. They overreact, sure. But what I want to teach, and why this is fun and everything, is that, okay, looking at the stocks, Dow, 3M, Caterpillar, they were in my shopping list, but I wasn't shopping for them. I just wanted to see where they were going in case something happened. And that's the lesson that I want to teach with the finance thesis, is that maybe there's something that you really don't want, but it's good to be observant and at least have that on your phone that you could just take out while you're waiting for the waiter to deliver your food, kind of thing. So why did I pick those stocks? Of course, they had the big exposure and they had the big dip, but they were also, this wasn't the fly-by-night companies. These were, I think they're aristocrats. Aristocrats are ones that have a dividend that they basically never have missed. Like Disney stopped their dividend a few years ago, and I think it's back up now. But I knew that if anything, one, it's the market's being crazy. Two, even if there is going to be this tariff and we're going to be in a bad economic cycle, these are companies with good balance sheets, and there was the risk and reward. You always hear that risk and reward scenario. I thought there was very little risk and a lot of reward, so I held on to those stocks for a few years, enjoyed those dividends, and sold it for some capital gains. So that's the lesson. The lesson is, put on your app some companies that maybe you don't think are fantastic upside, but there's going to be instances. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, that could have gone bad. Let's say there's another instance where there's a earthquake or something like that. It's risky, sure, but you got to measure that risk. And it worked out for me. I still have on my phone all kinds of stocks that I don't really like. And these are not, again, fly by night or new companies. I always make fun of Carvana, but it's actually up now. I lost money on Carvana. But no, these are, take a look. It's also, like I said, this is what's fun. You see what's doing well and you see what's doing bad. And you have fun with it, and then you make some money. The other real quick thing that I just want to put for this little case study is that I bought, and then it kept on going down. I think it went down even next couple of days or whatever. But even during that day, I remember looking at it and going, "Oh, that's not good." And you want to go, "I made a mistake. You know what? I went and bought more." So try to, if you have that gut feeling and it doesn't go right away, stick with it. All right, that's the episode. Please subscribe, like, and comment any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in a future episode. Log on to finance.com to learn more, and let's have fun with finance.